This is true. All right, so we're going into um, the third part, which is called parallels. This is where things get complicated. The steel object was sighted from some way out, and it was deemed that two fighters would be able to destroy it if need be. Scans have been unable to penetrate the interior of the object. It's moving quickly towards the planet as if on a collision course. There are no external signs of propulsion. The object has no external markings either to tell them where it's from. Sabel watches from a nearby starship, somehow unnerved by this object arriving at his world like this. His world has been at war for 3 months now, but no shots have been fired since the battle that officially started it. Neither side has wanted to make the first move as they wage a public relations battle, one which Sabel's enemies can't fathom the depth of. The steel object looks perfect to Sabel. It's the kind of thing he could marvel at for hours if it were not on a collision course with his world. He was resisting the urge to destroy it, hoping to capture it and possess it. All attempts to use a tractor beam on the object have failed. It's moving too fast, and it was too smooth and round to capture it in any other fashion. Sabal looks over to his first officer and growls, "Deploy the net." The first officer nods and sends a signal to a nearby space station that's parked between the object and Altil. It deploys a large steel mesh net which dwarfs the steel ball-shaped object. The net has been used previously for stray asteroids or comets, part of a safety plan they've used to protect Altil when need be, and there's a feeling the net's needed here as well. The steel gleaming object moves forwards towards the net without any hesitation. Sabal holds his breath as the object flies into the net, and it slows. The net strains at all four corners, held by four Altilian warships. The object appears to stop, and Sabal lets out a slow sigh. He looks to his second in command and sees that he's smiling. That smile fades quickly when the steel object melts its way through the net and then rockets at a speed almost too fast to be tracked by eyesight. The impact with the planet is mere moments later, and the explosion from within the planet is seen, the steel object not only impacting the surface but breaking through the crust as asteroids could do. This was an attack, Sabal says, stating what everyone around him had already figured out. "I want a trajectory, and I want to know the point of origin before we see another one of those things," he says in his native tongue. "But we tried this, and now that it is impacted," First Officer Rex says with a shrug. "Then we will try harder," Sabal snarls without allowing Rex to finish his thought. "Of course, sir." Sabal looks out at the spreading carnage on the planet below. There has to be millions of casualties. There'll be years of cleanup. If the source of this weapon has others to fire at Altil, their planet could be devoid of life within a few quick strikes. Next scene. The news of the Altilian attack spread throughout intelligence networks that were run by both Falteres and Earth. This information reached Mike Translow, and he was at a loss of how to deal with this. Dradston, the second in command among their forces, is the one to bring this information to Mike, though he's also at a loss on how to take this. "I guess this attack works in our favor. We've been waiting for them to strike, and now it may not happen. They'll have more cleanup there than Earth has had with the fusion explosion a few months ago," Dradston says. "This is bad for us too, my friend. If someone we don't know attacked Altil, that same military force could then decide to target my world next. What did our network say regarding your people still in prison on Altil?" Mike asks. "I wish I had some good news. The part of the planet that was targeted had a huge Altarian population. The area was likely cooked, and there was no warning. Combine that with Altil's apathy towards my people, and it doesn't look good. Drake messaged me to let me know that his people appear to be safe. I'm just really tired of this, Mike. My people, Drake's people, the scars on this world forever from the Altilian attack, it just gets to be too much. Makes it really difficult to feel bad for them when they get hit like this." Mike nods. "I agree, but like I said, we need to know what's going on here. We need to consult someone with information on who may have been behind such an attack," Mike says as he sighs and stands to turn and look out at the stars beyond. He's been in some bad spots in recent months, and this was no different. I have to go and talk to him again. "He's not going to budge, you know that," Dradston says with a scowl. "It's been a topic of discussion for months now, what to do with the captives Gora and Ver. The prisoners of this war were not being cooperative, though that could have been predicted. Dradston's not a violent man, but he has made it clear he doesn't oppose those who are calling for the execution of both of them. It's a popular point of view, and even the prisoners themselves have stated they believe it's the punishment that makes the most sense. Mike is of the mind that it does no good to kill people who have information that could help in the ongoing war. The one everyone is terrified will end with nuclear destruction of both Earth and Falteres. Mike even believes that there has to be a way to break through the cold facade of these creatures without resorting to torture or techniques which may get information, but not true or accurate in its nature. It's a battle he fights with people from his world as well as those of Earth. I'm going to him now, Mike says, and leaves his office without further consulting Dradgen. Mike's the leader of the forces from his world, and he doesn't second-guess himself anymore. His unpopular opinions had been right in the past, and his unwillingness to budge on so many things he believed had got him to this point in his career, so he didn't want to start doubting now and possibly ruin a good thing he has going on. The cell block Gora and Ver are in is exclusive to them only. Any other Altilian prisoners of war are being held on Earth in maximum security prisons at a location only known to a select few to prevent Altil mounting a mission to free them and symbolically tip the war in their favor. It was another chess move in a war which has been so disturbingly quiet. Gora and Ver were not aware of where the others were, and they weren't even certain where they were at this point. Though they were still in cells on the Peace Restorer, they'd been blindfolded and were told, and they were being moved at one point. The block they were in now looked different from their original holding place. Mike walks into their area and finds Gura's there is already standing. What's Pixel doing?
I don't know.
She's pointing like a puppy. She's a pointer. I think she wants to come up on your lap.
Probably.
Arms folded behind his back as if he was awaiting the general of the enemy forces. Ver slumped down against the wall in his cell, apparently having a nap next to the bunk instead of in his bunk. They were stubborn about not accepting where they were and believed an image of them sleeping on bunks in a prison cell would show acceptance of their place in custody by their people. They had to remain defiant. What do you want? Gora asks with the same derision he would have shown as if he were free. There had not been a crack in his facade this entire time in custody. Mike had been here to talk to him many times, sometimes for hours at a time, and Gora never showed any reaction or emotions other than expressing hatred and defiance. This was for the benefit of any cameras which might be taping the exchanges they had. In his mind, Gora is still the leader of his people, and his victory is certain. There's something going on, and we need your help, Mike asks. My people finally struck and hurt you, Gora asks with a twisted grin crossing his face. Mike smirks. Look, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to come down here and ask you for help against Altil. In all of our hours together, you've made it clear you won't help us. No, I need you to help us. Help Altil. Gora takes a step back. I don't believe you. Believe him, Dradgen says as he walks into the cell block behind Mike. Mike turns to Dradgen. I can do this by myself. Dradgen shakes his head and then faces Gora. If it was up to me, you'd be dead and so would your lackey there. You've been the catalyst for so much death and destruction, but Mike Transl's fought to save your miserable life, so you can show him at least a little respect on that level alone. Gora laughs. I'd kill you all where you stand. This is why my people will win this war. You don't have the stomach for it. You're caring and loving little insects who will be exterminated from the galaxy. Mike shakes his head. Funny thing about that. He says he goes to one of the walls on the cell block and presses a series of buttons. A 3D projection of the Altilian attack is shown, the silver sphere making its way through the heart of the planet's defenses and impacting the planet itself. Mike allows the video to play right through the large cloud of fire and dust enveloping much of the planet. How did you do that? Gora asks. The bravado all but gone as he watches. We didn't, Mike responds. We were hoping you might know who did. Gora stumbles backwards. He's known Mike long enough and listened to the man prattle on for hours, to the point where he knows this isn't a joke or ploy on his part. His stomach's in knots as he thinks of how many Altilians died with that precision strike. It has to be in the billions. I've never seen anything like that. Yeah, neither had we. See, we're at war with Altil. I could view this as a good thing. But I'm not so damn cold that way, Mike explains. I know there have to be some good people on your planet, people worth saving, and this attack was likely just the beginning of a larger attack. That silver ball did damage which equals any asteroid collision we ever witnessed. Altil's rotational axis shifted 10 degrees. The land shook with such tremendous force that structures the world over have been compromised. That strike was aimed at destroying everything on your world. Our intelligence reports that cleanup efforts are already starting to take shape and that Sabal has been quick to condemn this attack and vow revenge. The thing is, I believe his words ring hollow, since he has to be scared here and he didn't name us in the attack. He knows we can't carry out anything like this, and so do you. And you're concerned they'll attack your worlds next, Gora says, slowly nodding. It's all about preserving your people, not mine. You're not really in a position to judge here, Dradgen says, the urge to kill this man starting to rise in the otherwise peace-loving Altarian. Gora turns to Ver. Ver, you need to get up. Ver slowly wakes up and scowls at Mike and Dradgen. The trash want to talk to me again? Play it again, Gora says to Mike. Mike nods and plays back the video of Altarian being struck and devastated by the unknown weapon. Ver watches in stunned silence, and when it's over, he turns to Gora. You always feared this could happen, but we didn't believe you. Gora looks down at the floor. General Translo, there are a great many things my people know and you do not. Your people have theories about other universes, other worlds we cannot see but are nevertheless there. The universe is both vast and easily navigated at the same time if you have the right knowledge. My father, Geyer, he was a brilliant man who encouraged scientific advancement. He believed we had to make advances all the time or risk becoming obsolete. Your father also oversaw the destruction of Conley, Dradgen reminded him. Gora makes eye contact with Dradgen. Everything we do is for the greatness of the Altilians, and it is to be preserved. Our world is more important than anything else. Our people are the true leaders in this universe, and my father believed we could also be the leaders among everybody in the universe. Tell them no more, Ver says to Gora. The two Altilians stand in their cells, mere inches apart, and only an invisible force field standing between them. Ver has believed that when they were moved to cells such as this, that they could easily break through their force fields with their superior genetics, but a couple of vicious electrocutions had showed him that that was flawed thinking. Between them and their captors, there was a red force field which was nearly invisible, but was capable of killing anything which touched the field from inside the cell or within 10 seconds of contact. Gora looks up at Ver and shakes his head. There are likely billions who have died this day, Ver. You and I know these insects can't have carried this out. We know that this will be the first of what could be many attacks. I don't want to see everything we fight for die. He then looks at Mike. Get me a conference with Sabal. Absolutely not, Dradgen says. I was not speaking to you, worm, Gora snaps. Okay, that's not the time for this behavior, Mike says, stepping between Dradgen and Gora. I'll give you a choice, Gora. You tell us what this thing is, where it's from, and then we'll decide on what our next action will be. I'll simply give you my word that we will do everything in our power to prevent the death of your world. If that isn't good enough for you, then sit down right here and rot while further strikes decimate your world and perhaps ours as well. Everything you fight for can burn and perish while you sit in this cell with your pride and bravado to provide you with a hollow comfort that you did the right thing for your people. Gora looks down at the floor again. When we discovered humans, when we looked onto Falteres, Conley, and Earth, we saw things that convinced us of your standing in this universe as an inferior species. We sought to destroy you, and prophecies told us we would do just that. I've spent enough time in this cell hating you and hating everything about you. I look around this room and I'm disgusted at how little your kind have done with the gifts you've been given. I assume you're coming to a point, Dradgen says. Gora looks to Dradgen and nods. I'm a caged animal and I'm dead. I'm dead to my people since Sabal has told them I'm dead, and you have refused to tell them otherwise. Sabal will kill Ver and I if we try to take any power away from him. I am left to make a deal with the devil here. We're the devil? Mike asks, rather dumbfounded by such a statement. Ver's heard enough. You use our actions to justify locking us up like animals here. We use your actions to justify the things that we do. It's all points of view, General Translo. Once something has happened, you cannot turn back the clock and make it not happen. This causes Gora to laugh. There are a lot of things my father taught me that made me ready to lead my people. There are things I was taught which even you do not know, Ver. Time is not linear. Not in every instance. My father was working on a few things that would make immortality possible. And I believe what we saw in that video was a result of his efforts. Are you saying your father is responsible for this attack against Altil, his own homeworld? Mike asks. No, but you're getting closer. And that's the end of that scene. Time for probably one more. I think we got. What do you think? Are you still pinning?
I have so much stuff to pin.
Are you listening to what I'm saying, or are you just sort of going, I want to hear it clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Carissa Dahl looks out at the ship, out beyond this ship, and is amazed. There are things this group that the group formerly of Arcology 1237 have been working on. The group, now known simply as Division 1, was sent here on a mission by Mike Translow. Only he knows they're here, and Carissa is the first to take a look at the tumultuous area of space they've journeyed to. She turns to Nathan and manages a smile, though it's a nervous one. We're kind of far from home, aren't we? Nathan nods. I'm impressed with how quickly we got the hang of the wormhole jumps. We were at Earth yesterday, and today we're near the center of the galaxy, radiation shields holding as we'd hoped. The level of radiation outside their ship was beyond anything in their sector of the galaxy. It was far too high for any planets in this region to develop life, but the gravity in this region was also beyond anything known in the rest of the galaxy, and Mike Translow sent them here to investigate how time itself functions inside a zone like this. There was the danger that the gravity would tear the ship apart if they strayed too close to a black hole, and there were plenty of them at the center of the galaxy. John Webster was leading this mission and knew there was a lot riding on this. He turns to Carissa and scowls. We appear to be in the proper position to release the sensors General sent with us. I don't like being this close to oblivion, but that's just me, I guess. I don't know what the heck we're measuring life signs in this with this stuff for. Nothing can survive out there. Carissa simply nods and ejects the necessary equipment into the void. She watches the readings as they quickly escalate. The sensors are affected by the extreme gravitational fields and radiation hitting them. Carissa tries to make sense of the readings when they simply stop coming in. She then looks for any further information before turning to John. They're gone, Commander. As if he doesn't trust her, John looks out the front window and also calls up the information from his handheld monitor. I don't see how that's possible. Were they crushed? I would have data on their physical location if they'd been crushed, John. Carissa says, somewhat aggravated that he's questioning her claim. Nathan looks distressed. John, we're caught in some sort of gravity well. I can't locate where it's coming from. Back us out of here, Nate, John says. I'm trying. The engines aren't strong enough to fight it. Everyone had better hold on, Nathan says as he grabs the counter in front of him. Their ship starts to shake and spin. John's grateful they're aboard the E-215, the latest in a series that was created after the war was declared against Altel. The ship was fitted by members of Volteri's forces. It was based on designs brought forward by the very best at what they do, and no cost was spared in its construction. The ship continues to rock and spin as it's pulled towards a point in space. The field in front of them flickers a few times before it again becomes a star field, the likes of which they were used to seeing. What the hell, he asks as he sits down and tries to catch his breath. Nathan, where are we? Nathan punches numbers in and looks for information. He needs to answer that question. I'm not sure, John. We were just in the center of the galaxy, or as close as we could get, without being crushed, and now we're nowhere near there. I can't even get a read on what area or time and space we are. Time? John doesn't like the sound of that. I can't get a reading. Well, this has to be wrong, Nathan mumbles to himself. What's it telling you? Nathan sighs. According to what I'm seeing here, we're in the year 3264 Earth time. I just don't see how that's possible. Carissa makes her way over to Nathan and looks over her shoulders at the numbers. Yeah, that can't be true. It says we're on the other side of the galaxy, too. No signs of the sensors we sent either, Nathan says, looking around for something to bang his head into. Now what, John? We're in the middle of nowhere and we're in the future. John shrugs. He looks out the front window and feels as lost as he ever has. He scratches his head, wishes this was all a dream, and then turns back to Nathan. Turn the ship, take us in the direction of Earth. Maybe we can warp back home, find some answers? Sounds like we're going on a new adventure, Carissa says. I'd better go and talk to the others. Who knows what we'll find when we get home, she says, throwing her hair back and heading off the bridge. So, we bring in the fact that you can travel through time, and there's realities, and something's firing on Altel, and everything gets turned on its head in this one. So this is where I was like, all right, I'm going to go full on 100% into the whole distant battles idea that I had when I was a kid. So this is the first one where I really let that just happen. Oh, what did I knock down now? This is the problem with the jerseys that really hang down, is that I'm not aware of what I'm running into until I run into it. You want to talk to the people while I'm still recording?
Not really.
No? Well, you're a poor host then. You gotta talk to people.
Host,
Why don't you like a song and dance or something?
It's not something anybody would want to see.
So see, this is for people on the Hockey Channel. Coming up tomorrow, I'm doing a review of the rivalry between the Blackhawks and the Blues. Somebody requested that in the comments, and I thought, yeah, I can do that one. So again, I'm just going by the series that have occurred since I started watching hockey, because that way I'm not talking out of my butt. That's important. That's why I don't talk about the stuff that happened before I started watching, because I don't know.
Right.
I'm actually surprised it's that close. To me, it's always been Chicago's just better than St. Louis, but yeah, it's been closer than I thought. Although St. Louis blew it when they had home ice advantage 3 times out of 6. So they have a 50-50 chance. So anyways. All right, there you go. Yvonne's still making caps. I've got 2 different boards ready to go. That's just the second one. And I've got the Blackhawks and Canucks series good to go for tomorrow too. So it's 2 boards done. So while the numbers continue to plunge. But, you know, soldier along, I guess. While the numbers plunge. But hopefully this week the NHL makes up its mind on what they're going to do.
Yeah, like I said, once the NHL says it's doing something one way or the other.
Whether it does something or nothing, then that
Right.
that should help.
But even if they decide that they're going to cancel the season, then they'll be able to go on with...
Draft, free agency, trades,
Yeah.
things happening.
Right. Then something will happen. So either way, eventually something has to happen.
You would think. I mean, you know, I'm not surprised that there are people having a hard time believing I'm still coming up with video ideas. But that's where the fact that all I've done is hockey for years works. Even before I had a channel, everything was hockey. So, and I just think about how it used to drive my ex completely insane, and now that's how I make my money. So, you know, that's... I was at the time just being stubborn. This wasn't like I was psychic or anything. I was just being stubborn. You know that whole, oh, you think, oh, all right, I'll just go ahead and double down on it then. I'll just be more hockey. As if hockey's a verb. Because, you know, I'll just be more hockey.
Oh, it in this house is most definitely a verb.
No, it's not. It's a sport.
Yeah. It's also an adjective. It is a noun, a verb, and an adjective. Yes.
Can be an adverb too, I think. And a preposition. And
Well,
a
it could be
proposition.
it could be an adverb, yes.
And a proposition.
No.
Hockey. Huh?
There you go.
Hockey. Huh? A little bit. A little hockey. Hey? A little hockey? Want a hockey? See, it could be a proposition.
You're such a dork.
Do you like the hockey? Huh? She loves the hockey. Yeah. Little puck slapping action going on.
Okay, that's enough. Before you get too far.
Yeah. Puck slapping.
Okay, that's Shannon. That's enough.
What's enough? Is it magnets?
You. Yes, that's enough.
Not enough of me.
Why are you covering that board of magnets?
Because I need to get the magnets. I need to make sure that they're all spread out for videos tomorrow, and so I'm going to put them all on this board, and then when I'm doing video stuff for tomorrow, then I have the magnets there. I want to get them off that giant one. I want to use 2 smaller ones.
Oh, okay.
So that I can use the 2x4 foot board for something else. Because I've got 2 2x4 foot boards, and they're both spoken for. One's the Power Rankings, which is still frozen, and the other one's just covered in magnets. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, as always. Volume 3 is my favorite. I really enjoy Volume 3, so that's where stuff happens, and I'm excited stuff happens. So, there you go. Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below, and hope you guys enjoyed story time. I will talk to you guys again very soon. Yvonne's going to be making another 5,000 or 6,000 masks over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
And, and Pixel's
the caps.
special.
I have to have like 40 right here.
She's
This
special.
bag, I don't know if
She's-
they can see it. It's a bag. So I use this. I use my Canucks bag and I just fill it up. And I have like 40 in there right now.
I keep telling her not to overdo it, but who am I to talk? I made 6 videos today in a live stream, so that's I can't really say anything about overdoing things. I do that every day. There you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support along the way. We're into May now. I don't know if you've noticed that there's still calendars. Things are still happening, so it's May apparently. And May the 4th be with you tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys again then.